so I just want to get this off my chest
All right.
because we did not record extra credit for the last episode. So this is a little bit outdated as of this point, but I still want to say it because I promised you guys I would.
Okay.
Ed Gein, monster.
Oh, yes.
What a sack of absolute garbage. I was borderline yelling at the TV. I was so upset. It is maybe 7% the truth. I was shocked. I was genuinely watching it and I was just like, what? Actually, one of the authors of Did You Hear What Eddie Gein Done?
Okay, yeah.
He went onto Facebook and he said, I just finished watching this. I am shocked.
And I loved the graphic novel.
Phenomenal.
Oh, it's so good, guys. If you have the chance to get your hands on a copy of Look What Eddie Gein Done.
Yeah.
It's by Harold Schechter, who wrote Deviant.
Yes.
And I'm so sorry, I cannot remember the artist's name, but he is fantastic.
It was the artist who said all of this.
Got it.
And again, you know what? For entertainment value, I had someone put this to me because I was talking to two friends of mine who watched it and really liked it. And they said, if you know nothing about Ed Gein, this is entertaining. If you know anything about Ed Gein, you're gonna be pissed.
And see, I still haven't watched it. I've had a few friends actually reach out to me and be like, what does Dina think? Because we've seen her doing all her little reviews on stuff. And I was like, well, Dina's not super impressed so far. I've had a couple of friends being like, dude, I'm 3 episodes in. What the fuck is going on?
I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't recommend it.
Oh, that's too bad.
The last probably 3 episodes, I was hate watching it. And I'm going to issue a spoiler alert, so skip ahead. And I apologize to you because you have to hear this. So spoiler alert, skip ahead.
I know the true story. And
the entire last episode is basically a Mindhunter crossover. Where Ed Gein meets all of the serial killers who quote unquote were inspired by him. So you have Ted Bundy, you have Richard Ramirez, you have Richard Speck, you have all of these serial killers that suddenly are showing up. And in one of the scenes, he's walking through a hallway and they're all congratulating him and patting him on the back and all of this. And by that point, I'm like, where am I? What am I watching?
I don't like that.
It was, I'm getting passionate here. It was not good.
On an upward note of Netflix series, documentaries, whatever you want to call it, I did actually have time as I was dying on the couch this week to watch My Father the BTK Killer, which focuses on Kerry Rawson, his daughter mostly. And you guys might have different thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think she's incredibly brave.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that she comes forward and it's from the perspective of a serial killer's daughter.
Yes.
I don't think it's a perspective we get a lot of, and she has been absolutely a machine when it comes to being an activist and calling him out on his bullshit. And she gets to explain herself, and I think that's really important. And it's just, it's not even that long. It's like maybe 2 hours or an hour and a half.
It's an hour and a half. It's a great watch. Highly recommend it.
It's very good. Definitely recommend watching it. If you're not into Ed Gein, just skip that.
You don't need Ed Gein, honestly. Like,
go watch Kerry Rawson.
Listen to our Ed Gein series if you want Ed Gein.
Fair enough. Yeah, if you want the facts, listen to our series. Read the book Deviant. Read What Eddie Gein Done. If you're not much of a reader, the graphic novel is, again, like I said, fantastic. And then, go watch My Father the BTK.
And I feel for Carrie because she is getting a lot of hate for doing the series. People are saying it's insensitive to the victims. The victims' families were contacted and asked if they wanted to participate.
And they
said no, which is very fair.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are saying, well, if he damaged your life so much, why are you making your life so much about him? At the end of the day, how could you not? You know what I mean? Like, that is a part of you, and that is an issue that is so complicated that most of us will luckily never understand it. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very different perspective on all of it. I'm waiting for the day that we can announce that BTK is dead. I really hope he gives some information. I don't think he will. But monster, bad. BTK, theories, good.
Yeah.
And
with that, I think we've got a few updates for you.
Let's start the show first, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Geez. Brain butter.
We're struggling today. We are both She's at the tail end of it. I'm starting up with it, but we are both not doing fantastic.
Mm-mm.
But we're going to get through this. Hello, everyone. I'm Dina.
And hello, everyone. I'm Charlotte.
Welcome to the Grim Curriculum Extra Credit. We've got updates. Do you want to do yours first? Do you want me to do mine first? What are you thinking? Can I do my update?
Yes, you do yours first then.
All right. So my update has to do with Robert Pickton.
Oh, we talked about him just not too long ago.
This is killer.
Oh, yes, that too.
Yes. So he was just in court.
Yeah.
And this was in late September. He told the court that he did it for the victims.
Now, I appreciate that,
Mhm.
but I'm not sure I completely believe that because I feel like it's more for the clout of it all.
Well, you get a lot of clout after you kill Robert Pickton.
Yeah.
You really do. I didn't even want to mention this on the show because, but like we just had Ian Watkins get killed in prison.
Also, not fucking sad about that either.
No,
you
God, no.
absolute evil piece of shit.
And it got me to thinking about like the guy who killed Jeffrey Dahmer. And I think a lot of these guys, they definitely do it for clout. I refuse to believe that they don't, because I feel like you get a big pat on the back from the other prisoners after you do something like that.
I wonder if listeners let us know. We often, when we cover serial killers, and if they do die in prison, and if they do die in prison at the hands of another prisoner, we often mention it. But would you guys like an episode where we like do a list of famous serial killers? Is that worth talking about?
That's interesting.
You know?
I like that.
Let us know what you think. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's something. If you guys want to hear it, maybe it's something we could throw together.
I dig that. Okay.
Okay.
So, an inmate admitted that he murdered Robert Pickton in prison because the serial killer continued to brag about his crimes.
I've heard that a few times with serial killers where their roomie or whatever's like, they just wouldn't shut the fuck up about it, and I'd had enough.
So the man's name is Martin Charest. We'll say Charest. He pleaded guilty to fatally assaulting Pickton with a broken broom handle back in May of 2024. He says, I killed Robert Pickton for the victims. I know that we can't take justice into our own hands, but I killed him for the victims, not for myself. A statement of facts read out in court detailed how Charest had locked himself in a room with Pickton on May 19th, 2024, and assaulted him twice while guards were unable to enter. He has a lengthy criminal record already, and he managed to manipulate the door lock in order to make it difficult for prison staff to open. Then, with Pickton in the room, he closed the door, which could not be opened from the inside, and knocked him to the ground, punching and then kicking him. Blocked from entering, prison staff released gas into the room, which had the effect of temporarily making Mr. Charest stop. They tried to convince him to leave, but he instead grabbed the broomstick and stabbed Pickton as he lay on the floor, breaking the handle in his head. Pickton never regained consciousness and died 12 days later. The cause of death is blunt polytrauma. Charest told the judge that Pickton continued to talk loud and clear about his crimes and said that if he were released, he would continue to commit crimes. The day he decided to kill Pickton, Charest said the serial killer told another inmate he would have liked to have cannibalized a child who belonged to one of the victims.
Oh my God.
He said, I lost control, Mr. Judge. It's regrettable, but it happened and I don't have any remorse. He confirmed that pleading guilty was his own initiative. It's my choice and my family's, he said. Prosecutor Melissa Hogan said there would be no victim impact statements on Pickton's behalf, adding that the serial killer had a brother who didn't want to speak. A lot of people think that this brother was involved in a lot of terrible stuff too. Charest was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. In sentencing him, Supreme Court Justice noted that his victim had been guilty of the worst atrocities a person can commit towards others, but that he still had the right to serve his sentence in safety.
I mean, that's where the morality of it all gets me, is because on one hand, I'm like, who fucking cares? Pickton, see you later. And the thing is, if Mr. Charest is already serving 25 to life anyway, what does he have to lose, really?
Yeah. And a lot of this, I mean, if it is true that Robert Pickton was saying, I'm going to commit more crimes, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, we were talking about it not too long ago where
he would get parole.
He might get paroled. And with the Canadian justice system, it is very likely.
So he ain't getting parole now, homies.
I do have something else I want to talk about in regards to Robert Pickton. This is from an article from October the 10th. The BC Supreme Court has rejected a bid by the family of one of Robert Pickton's victims to preserve human remains seized from the pig farm. Justice Alan Ross ruled on October 3rd that the sister of one of the victims was not entitled to an order halting RCMP from transferring human remains to the BC's coroner's office for testing and eventual disposition. Basically, they're saying that at the end of the day, Robert Pickton was only charged in the deaths of 6 people.
Yeah.
He killed substantially more than that.
Mhm.
And so what they're saying is that these remains should be further investigated and also should be kept rather than being disposed of. There's
Yes.
not just human remains, but there is jewelry, clothing, and things like that.
Totally.
And essentially, what's happening is that the everything has been photographed and documented and all of that. But they're saying that they want to get rid of everything at this point because the
Oh,
case is over.
I don't like that idea though, because we all know, if you're familiar with the Picton case, he famously said that he had murdered at least 49 and that he was sad that he didn't get to
Yes,
50.
exactly.
So the fact that he was only officially charged with 6 is a very low number compared to the probability of who is out there that is connected to him.
They're saying that for the families, the ongoing court battle represent both an effort to seek accountability from surviving parties and a struggle to keep evidence from slipping beyond reach. Personally, and this is just me guessing wildly,
Mm,
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to see if Robert Pickton was not the only one that was involved in this, which a lot of people believe
yep.
he had help.
Mhm.
And so they're trying to hold other people accountable. Now, one of the things that makes this case so complicated is Robert Pickton had the now infamous Piggy Palace
Mm.
where people partied. And a lot of the people who partied there are now very influential people.
Yep.
So they're trying to basically just put a little bow on this, set it to the side, and never talk about it again.
Mhm.
Whereas the families are saying, well, he's dead, but there might be other people that are
Yeah.
still alive that have something to do with this.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, even from a purely, say, practical standpoint of we've had these hundreds of thousands of pieces of evidence,
Yeah.
right? Because they combed through it, and I think it was hundreds of thousands of pieces.
Yes.
Um, you have to store it somewhere.
Mhm.
And if it's DNA sensitive, maybe you have to store it in freezers or fridges or
Yes.
whatever, right? So I understand that that's space and money that that costs. And yes, I understand that you photographed it all, but what if 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever from now, a piece of evidence pops up and you need to
Mhm.
cross reference that DNA, but you can't because you destroyed it.
Yes.
And all you have is a picture, and that's not going to help that much. We talk about it literally, I swear to God, every episode of the regular show, every
Yeah.
episode of Extra Credit. So many cases get solved decades
Mhm.
after the fact. Willie Pickton was, I believe, arrested or at least sentenced somewhere around 2002.
Mhm.
Even for us, that's 23 years. That's
Yeah.
crazy. 2002 is the same time I moved to Canada. And to think that, you know, close to 30 years out, we could solve something,
Yeah.
but like you say, you tie a little bow on it and then you throw it in the garbage.
Yep. And I mean, it's a huge, I don't wanna call it a conspiracy theory, but there's a lot of people who believe that there are certain parties who want all of this to go away.
I believe it.
I do too.
Yeah. I guess we'll either find out what they end up doing with it. It's unfortunate. I have a feeling it will get destroyed.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
I
want it
honestly do
to,
too.
but I think it will.
We'll keep an eye out, we'll keep you guys posted. I
Yeah.
hope there's as happy of an ending as there can be in this. I don't think that there will be though,
No, I
but
mean, the whole situation is just heinous.
yeah, and that's a case we've been saying this since we started. We are gonna cover him one day.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a six-parter, I
It
think.
is. It's a lot.
It is, because he operated for a long time, and like I said, he might have only got charged for 6, but there were a lot more victims under his
Mhm.
belt, that's for dang sure. My next one is a medical one coming out of Austria. This is
Okay.
very recent. You know, I love my medical cases.
Mhm.
Another thing that I've been doing this week is I've been dying on the couch is watching Grey's Anatomy clips on TikTok. I
Fantastic.
don't know why I do this to myself. I just get clips of that show 3 minutes at a time,
Mhm.
all out of context, all different seasons, but whatever. This came up and I simply wrote down 12-year-old drills into man's head.
Oh, don't
So,
do that.
no. This particular incident happened in January, actually. Oh, did I say recent? January 2024. I believe the doctor is just being sentenced now. That's why
Oh,
it's all
okay.
coming out. So at the University Hospital Graz, also known as the Graz Regional Hospital in Austria, the patient who was being drilled into was a 33-year-old farm worker who had been airlifted into the hospital after a forestry accident. Tree branch literally landed on his head.
Oh my god.
Not good. So during the emergency surgery, they needed to do a minor procedure to insert a probe into his brain to test his intracranial pressure, which
Mhm.
is very normal, not a problem. And from what I understand, it's a fairly easy thing to do if you know what you're doing. Dangerous, obviously,
Yeah.
but not super complicated. Um, Turns out that the senior surgeon's 12-year-old daughter was the one that performed
What?
that
What?
particular drilling. Yeah.
What?
So there's a few different things like alleged.
Okay.
Um
That is insane.
yes. So the 12-year-old daughter was reportedly allowed into the operating theater and she wanted to see the operation, wanted to help. I get having a morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
Morbid kids right here.
Yeah.
My mom's also a nurse, but I've never been wandering around a hospital like, doop-de-doo, let me
Let
just go into an OR.
let me help you.
The defense claims
Okay, let's
that
hear this.
she did not independently operate the drill. They say that she may have placed her hand on it, but control was always with the medical professional, either the junior surgeon or the senior surgeon, who is her mother.
Okay.
Another twist, the senior surgeon reportedly left the table at one point to make a phone call, leaving the junior surgeon to handle things. And it's during that time that the daughter allegedly was allowed to help. Both junior and senior surgeons have been fired and dismissed from their hospital roles,
Mhm.
as you would hope. This case is now a criminal trial starting in October of 2025, so this month, and the proceedings are continuing in Austria. Unfortunately, though, I did look a little bit into the law of Austria
Mhm.
because obviously quite different to other places like where we are. So it says charges include causing bodily harm by letting an untrained person treat a patient. If convicted, possible penalties are fines or up to a year in prison. I don't think that's enough.
That is some risky business. Was the person okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Yes. I'll actually get to that shortly. I'll let you guys know he is okay. He is recovering. He's not able to go back to work at this time because he
Yeah.
has had a traumatic brain injury. Luckily, not at the hands of a 12-year-old girl with a power drill. It was due to the branch falling on his head that it's
Mhm.
just taking so long to
Yeah.
recover. The senior surgeon apparently told her colleagues afterwards that her daughter had just done her first drill hole, which she later said was out of stupid maternal pride. Yeah, you don't say.
Oh my god.
To be honest, even letting a child in an OR
Yeah.
to observe is bonkers banana cuckoo, man.
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking crazy?
Yeah.
I yeah, there's some episodes of Grey's Anatomy or
Of
whatever, like,
course.
whatever. Those are fucking stories, guys. Children, unless you are on the table as a patient,
Yep.
you're not in the OR, period. And then the fact of the matter that you even let her be near the
Yeah,
patient,
that is shocking.
never mind have her hands on a power drill going into the skull.
Yeah.
Ugh. Um, the patient was unconscious the entire time. He cannot remember any details. He was in intensive care for 11 days. Post surgery, he is reportedly doing well, but remains with the after effects and is unable to work. But again, that's probably less so because of the surgery and
Yeah.
more so because of the actual accident. But holy cow.
That's honestly what, and you've told me a lot of wild medical
Yeah,
tales.
it's my favorite
That
thing.
is up there.
I just how did you think this was going to remain a secret? Because if I'm a 12-year-old, if 12-year-old Charlotte had the
Yeah.
opportunity to go into an OR and observe, oh, I'd be there like white on rice. I would immediately go to school and be like, guess what I fucking did?
You know what I think is that it's some kind of delusion where the parent let this happen, told the other employees, and expected them to be like, "Your child is a prodigy."
I guess, it's like, I'm a brain surgeon, so she is also a brain
Yeah.
surgeon. No, she's a 12-year-old girl. And while she may grow up to become a brain surgeon one
Yeah.
day, well, she's probably never going to get the opportunity to now. Can you imagine being either another doctor in that OR or a surgical nurse
Yeah.
and seeing that happening? Like, how I think I would immediately have been like, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't care if you're one of 200 brain surgeons on the planet.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. No.
That's wild.
Why is there a little gremlin in here with a power
Yeah,
drill?
let her out.
Let her out. Anyway, that's my
Wow.
horrific
Holy
medical
crap.
story for the day. I We'll see if anything comes of it.
Yeah, I'm
I
curious.
I I mean, like I said, they recommend fines or like under a year in prison, which to me does not seem enough, but we'll see.
Yeah. I've got another update.
Okay.
California governor overturns parole of Manson family member Patricia
Oh,
Krenwinkel.
Patricia.
So, Patricia, for those of you who don't know, and I recommend listening to our fantastic Manson series,
Mm-hmm.
she killed 7 people and an unborn baby and scrawled helter skelter with her victim's blood. She will remain behind bars.
Ooh.
California Governor Gavin Newsom has once again denied parole for Patricia. She is the state's longest serving female inmate, and she is, of course, a former Manson family member.
Mm-hmm.
They rejected a 2025 parole board recommendation, concluding that Krenwinkel, now 77, currently poses an unreasonable danger to society if released.
Crikey.
He said, I have concluded that she lacks the requisite insight that she would need to be safely released. She was 21 when she joined Manson, and she was involved in a 2-night killing spree in 1969 that left 7 people dead. Convicted in 1971 of 7 counts of first-degree murder, she was originally sentenced to death
Oh,
before
yes.
her sentence was commuted to life in prison. He acknowledged her efforts to rehabilitate herself over the past 5 decades, citing her participation in self-help groups. She's earned college degrees and also trained service dogs. He wrote, I commend her for taking these steps and encourage her to continue on this positive path. Despite progress since 2022, she has not demonstrated sufficient gains in this area. Um, California law requires special consideration for youthful and elderly offenders. But though he said that those factors do not outweigh her continued risk to the public.
I mean, she's been in prison so long. You don't understand how the world works now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? To go from the 70s to 2025,
yeah.
that's a whiplash in eras that I don't think you'd ever really wrap your head around.
So, as we know, her co-defendant, Leslie Van Houten, was
Mhm.
released on parole in
Yes.
2023. I wonder how she's doing. I'm gonna look into that. I'm
Yeah.
curious. Uh, Tex Watson remains
He sure
imprisoned.
does, yeah.
Listen to our rant about him in the Manson series because that pissed us off. Susan Atkins died in 2009, and Charles Manson died in 2017 after more than 45 years behind bars.
You betcha.
So, I'm curious to see. I mean, at 77, it's hard because how much time does she really have? Is she gonna die in prison? We don't know. They're really dead set on not letting her out, and one of the reasons that they let out Leslie Van Houten versus Patricia is Patricia was a lot more heavily involved in the killings, especially
Yes.
when it came to Sharon Tate.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, did they both get death sentences originally, or did only Patricia get a death sentence
I
originally?
think almost all of them got death
Okay.
sentences
So it
originally.
wasn't necessarily that Leslie got 25 to life and then left prison, and
Yeah.
that Leslie was supposed to be death but then got commuted to life in prison, sort of thing.
I think a big chunk of them got death sentences
Okay.
because during that time, it was a pretty common
Yeah.
sentence to give out.
I will say I don't know a whole lot about Governor Gavin Newsom, but I do support him, I think, keeping her in.
Yeah, and we've talked about him a lot on this show,
Mhm.
obviously, when we talk about parole hearings and things like that. But she's one of those people where I hate to speculate and I hate to generalize people, but when you've spent that much time in an institution, you're
Mm.
institutionalized, a lot of the time you learn how to say the right things and behave a certain way
Totally.
and manipulate the system. And if she's at risk of doing that, I'm glad that they're seeing that.
Yeah. Yeah,
because she was a very loyal follower up until not all that long ago.
Well, and now as well at 77, she's senior citizen. She's
Yeah.
a little old lady,
Mhm.
a little old lady that's violently murdered. I
Very
would
violently.
say 7 people.
Yeah.
And who has spent her entire life institutionalized. And you would probably pass her on the street and not think twice about her.
Yep.
And I think, like you say, again, it's up to the psychiatrist and all that kind of stuff too to evaluate her. But I think if they recognize
Mhm.
that, you know what, maybe you would have a good day,
Yeah.
but it just takes one bad day to
Mhm.
send it all out the window.
Exactly.
Ugh.
I'm curious to see what ends up happening with her.
Yeah, and I'm curious actually now about Leslie Van Houten too.
Yeah, I'm gonna just see what I can
Go down that
find.
rabbit hole.
It is time for our latest strange and unusual death. This one takes us to 1999.
Oh,
We're talking about Owen Hart
okay.
from Calgary, Alberta. Those of you who are wrestling fans, you may know him as the Blue Blazer.
Oh.
He died after a stunt went tragically wrong during a pay-per-view event in Kansas City.
Oh, wow.
He was being lowered from the ceiling of the Kemper Arena during the World Wrestling Federation's Over the Edge show when he plunged 50 feet into the ring.
Oh, jeez.
Eyewitnesses believe that Hart hit his head on the padded metal turnbuckle of the wrestling ring before falling to the floor.
Yeah, that'll do it.
He was given CPR inside the ring as the announcer haltingly told the audience that the incident was not scripted. The wrestler was pronounced dead at the hospital. Jim Bradbury, spokesman for the local fire department, said he was up on some scaffolding above the ring. They were going to lower him down on some sort of cable, and apparently the cable wasn't hooked up.
Oh, so he just jumped off.
Yes.
Oh, God. 50 feet to smash your face on a post?
Yep.
Oh.
His wife said that she told Owen that she didn't think that she should do that. She didn't think it was safe. What will we do if anything happened to you? He did do the event. There are, if you want to look into this more, it's a whole story. There's a lot of information, but there's some speculation that, again, the cable wasn't hooked up. We know that, but that
Why wasn't it hooked up?
that they had cheaped out on a lot of the kind of setup.
Safety
Yes,
shit.
exactly. Which ultimately led to his death.
Oh, poor. That is truly unfortunate.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I feel like wrestling, while not really my cup of tea,
Mhm.
I like the theater of it all, kind of.
Yeah.
You know? And people get really into it and like really have their fan bases. And can you imagine being there that night and just,
Well, there's that moment where it's like,
is it
this part of the
scripted?
show?
Yeah.
Like, is this supposed to happen?
Well, actually, it's funny. My granddad wrote to me the other day on
Mhm.
Facebook Messenger, and he mentioned a comedian that a lot of Brits will know, Tommy Cooper.
Okay.
And he was really he was this big, like, gregarious guy, and he always wore like a fez. And his show was he had this like trunk of like props that he would bring out, and he
Mhm.
was very slapstick, hilarious. But because he was this big gregarious character, he would run from one stage or like one end of the stage to the other, jumping all over. And the day he died, he had a massive heart attack on stage, and he was dying on the stage, and the audience just laughed because they thought it was part of the show.
Oh my God.
So
Ugh.
for that brief, I don't know, it probably seconds, but it feels like hours.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, should we laugh? Should we clap?
Yeah.
Should we call 911?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
That one made me sad.
That is sad.
They're-
And it's a
they're
little
all
close
sad.
to home, too.
Yeah.
Aw, poor guy.
We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. That's right. Thank you all so much for listening. This has been the Grim Curriculum. Extra credit. Bye.